And we're off and running on the Krueger Show. Hope everybody's having a great July the 10th, 2024. 8:41 on the West Coast, 11:41 on the East Coast. It's a late night show back east. Welcome to the Krueger Show, brought to you by Pig and a Pickle, the best barbecue in all of Northern California. Check them out. They're in Emeryville. They're in Corte Madera. They're open 7 days a week, so there is not one day that you could come out here and not hit Pig and a Pickle, and they're open from 11 a.m. till 8 p.m., but they do run out before 8 p.m., so get there early. Go say hi to Damon and Mary. Get some brisket. Tell them that Krug sent you. And this stream also brought to you by Sharp Corner Sports Cards and Collectibles, 205 Cypress Avenue in Pacific Grove, California. Give my friend Anthony Catania a call down there, 831-521-5264. And, of course, we're also brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Check the link in the description. Use the promo code Krug, and they will match you up to your first $100. Raj is in the house. We normally go on Tuesday nights, but we had to move things around because Dieter was traveling, and so we moved Raj around to this week, and he was kind enough to was able to move. But he is with us tonight. Raj, how are you, man?
I'm good, other than the technical difficulties, but we're here. It took us a little while to get going, but I'm good. I'm here.
You're good. You're here. And Raphael5629 says, like and subscribe, everyone. Absolutely. If you like, that just helps the algorithm. More people find the stream. That would help us out. And if you hit subscribe and you click that notification bell, anytime we go live, you'll get a little notification that indeed we are going live. Well, ESPN says the 49ers defensive line has regressed. And I think this is a great place to start because the 49ers do put so much importance in their defensive line. And they changed out about 6 defensive linemen this year. And Armstead's the biggest name that walked out the door. And it wasn't like they wanted him, right? They didn't make him an offer to stay. So goodbye Armstead, goodbye Kinlaw, and goodbye Chase Young, goodbye Randy Gregory, goodbye Cleveland Farrell. They really did trade out a bunch of names on their D-line. In comes Malik Collins for a 7th-round pick. In comes Leonard Floyd. Jordan Elliott was signed over from Cleveland, and then they got a couple, after the draft guys that they really kind of like, a couple of young players in Shaquille Brown and Evan Anderson. There's a few more names in there, Drake Jackson, Robert Beal. But overall, where are you on the 49er line? ESPN thinks the Niners defensive line has regressed. Is the Niner D-line a strength or is it a weakness? What do you think?
I mean, we're going to find out, but we've talked about D-line a lot. Honestly, I think people are saying they declined because they don't know the guys they signed. We've talked about it in abundance this offseason that they've signed a lot of guys that really we don't know if they're going to be good. Jordan Elliott, Malik Collins, you mentioned. Honestly, I think they got better by subtraction. I wasn't high on Armstead the last 2 years. He was always hurt. They did bring in Hargrave last year, but towards the end of the season, he got a little banged up. But I think that I think he'll be better this year. He seems really motivated, to really prove himself. I like the guys they added, the youngsters that they drafted, undrafted guys. They brought in Leonard Floyd. I think the guys they brought in are going to be part of their system and really fit because I feel like last year they regressed more so. They lost a lot of the guys, Ebicom and all those guys we mentioned. And, this year they lost Cleveland Farrell, but was that big of a loss? We'll see. Chase Young, he was kind of a lackluster addition. So honestly, I think they did better in addressing the D-line this offseason than they did last year because last year they had to get those guys like Chase Young and, some of the other guys they brought in midseason because they were struggling because they didn't address that position right enough. So I think this year they'll be back, to a better D-line. They didn't get a lot of sacks last year. Nick Bosa also kind of started off slow because he wasn't in training camp. He even admitted that was a mistake. So I think this year will be better off on the D-line. Now, depth-wise, they're just not as deep as they were a few years ago. Back like 2019, that line was crazy. And then they lose DJ Jones eventually, and they kind of just started to, fluctuate in terms of losing players. But I think this year we'll be back to being a pretty solid D-line this year.
It's an interesting group this year. I like Leonard Floyd, and to me, he's been consistently productive for years, going back to Georgia. So I like Leonard Floyd opposite Bosa. But to me, it's all about, how much can you spot Leonard Floyd by playing Gross Matos on first and second down and on some rundowns. And then I'm hoping that Drake Jackson and Robert Beal come of age. I'm hoping that Jordan Elliott, kind of finds himself here. But if it doesn't happen, I expect the 49ers to be aggressive and trying to find an extra piece here or there. I am intrigued. To me, the most intriguing part of this line is Evan Anderson and Shaquille Brown, just from the standpoint I've seen these guys. Brown is just big and really explosive. Evan Anderson is really strong. And I think both these guys have talent. I mean, good enough talent to maybe play a significant role. So I'm eager to see what those guys bring to the defensive line. But to me, the big unknown is, we kind of knew what Armstead was going to give you as long as he was healthy. And I just don't know what Malik Collins and Jordan Elliott are going to give. And that's probably my biggest concern with the group is those two guys. Like, if you told me those guys were going to be productive, I'd feel much better about this year. All right, here's question.
I think they will, though, Larry. I think those two guys, to me, were guys that the Niners targeted. And they're going to be good, and they're just under the radar. Because that's what they do. They get those under the radar guys that you're like, Leonard Floor, Jordan Elliott, whatever. I think he's going to be a really good run stuffer. That's what he does.
So. Yeah, no question about it. But that to me, there's some unknowns with Collins and Elliott as far as how many downs, what kind of an impact, how fast do they play, how strong are they? There's a little bit of a projection there. There's a little bit of a roll the dice there, and I'm fine with that. And I like both prospects, but that to me is going to be interesting because to me that could be anything. I think Jordan Elliott's got a lot of talent, and he's about 310 pounds with quick feet. And I think Collins, some of the workout film I've seen of him in the offseason, I mean, I love the way he moves his feet. I'm eager to see what two younger players who've got good size might do inside. I mean, to me, that could be very exciting. Who's going to be the biggest surprise? Biggest surprise for the 49ers going to be this summer? Who's going to be?
On the D-line or in general?
No, just in general. Across the board, we'll now branch out across the entire roster. If I say Raj from RSF 49ers, who is going to be the surprise of this year?
I don't know if he's a surprise because we expect him to kind of take that leap. I think Jair Brown is going to go. I think he's going to have a monster second. I just have this feeling that Jair Brown is going to be like a big star on this team this year on the defense. I don't know if it's a surprise to many, but I think he's going to be the big guy that takes a leap this year.
I think there's a few guys that come to mind, but I'll say this: the guy, because he did nothing last year, and so there's no expectations this year. And based on what I've seen so far, he looks like a big time player. I mean, he looks like a player who's going to make big plays for this team, and that's Braden Willis. Braden Willis is a move tight end, right? He's a receiving tight end. And they gave him that gold helmet designation, and you're sitting there going, okay, well, that means they love him. And they don't even want to tell us anymore who they give they kept it a secret this year. They didn't want to tell us who they gave the gold helmet designation. I think they think it potentially could make them look bad. Or maybe put undue pressure or whatever. They just want to keep that private. But Willis was a gold helmet designation guy. And when you talk to him, you can see, why he's totally, wired to improve. He's a hardworking guy. He's got good receiving skills. He'll lay out for the ball almost like a receiver. Well, in this last minicamp, he made a number of catches down the field. And you just look at Brock Purdy in that kind of intermediate, he not 5 to 10 yards, but that like 15 to 25 yard range. He loves the corner routes and to me, Willis looks like a guy, whether he's flexed out outside the tackle box or if they actually use him as an inline tight end and just release him off the line. I think he's going to be a major receiver for them. I mean, they haven't had, you think about it, they have not had. I mean, he's not a bad receiver, but Warner can catch a cold. They haven't had a real, standout receiver since Jordan Reed, So to me, this guy looks a lot like Jordan Reed. A younger Jordan Reed, 240 pounds, not 255, not 260 or 270. He's not going to blow you off the line of scrimmage, but he is going to get into that intermediate and deep intermediate, and I think make a number of big catches. I'm excited as hell for Brock Purdy to Braden Willis.
Wow. Hey, Larry, real quick. They're saying that your audio is tripping. I don't know if we can hear you. I don't think you hear me.
I can hear you. I can hear you.
I can hear you.
I can hear you. You can hear me. Static audio. Let me check. Let me double check here. Check the settings. Check everything. No, we're good. We're good. Right microphone chosen. I don't know what to say. It's a hot night. All the echo cancellation. There you go. Reduce mic background noise. We got it all there. Boom, boom, boom. I don't know what to say, fellas.
Sounds good to me. I don't know.
Ian Sharp says sauna issues. Thank you.
Yeah, might be. It might be. Okay. Hopefully it's
Nathan
good
says
from here.
Larry, fix your stream.
We'll see.
And then obviously there's a number of people complaining about it, but I think it's on my end.
Maybe not. It says it's
And
better.
my IT guy's partying it with his girlfriend in Europe right now.
Yeah. He says they say it's better.
Somebody says jump back in. Why don't I do that? Why don't Raj? Can you fill for 30 seconds? I'll jump out and jump back in.
See. Let's see.
Maybe
Go fix
maybe
your
that's
audio.
the difference.
Go fix your audio.
Okay, I'll be right back.
Larry's audio is not looking hot. So hopefully he can get fixed. Braden Willis, that's a surprising pick to me. I don't know about that. I hope he can make the roster. That's all I gotta say. But here we go. We're waiting for Larry to come back. Maybe Pig in a Pickle isn't paying the bills like we all thought they were. But hopefully he can get that audio fixed up. That's what happens when your IT guy is on vacation. So let's take a look. Hopefully my audio is okay. I don't know. Is my audio tripping? Is my audio okay? Maybe it's my end. Maybe I gotta leave. Let's roast Larry now. No, let's not. Larry's a good guy. Sounds like static. Hope you're having a good week. I'm having a good week. Just been busy. Have you seen Receiver yet? Yeah, I was watching it today. That thing is awesome. Have you guys watched Receiver? Pretty good show so far. Pretty good so far. So I'm on episode 5. It's on episode 5 right now. Good stuff. Good stuff. Okay, I'm good. Good. It's perfect. Must have been Larry's audio. So hopefully he gets that fixed up. Um, Am I going to talk about O line? Yeah, we'll talk about O line when Larry comes back. We got a lot of stuff to talk about. Larry's got the whole list of the show and topics, so we'll wait for Larry to get back. But O line definitely is something we got to talk about because the 49ers, that's one of the hot topics going into the season is how the O line's going to be, you know? So here he goes.
Any
Here
better?
we go. Here we are. We're back.
We're back. There you go. All right. Hopefully it's better. Hopefully it's better.
Okay, we're good.
So Raj, what did you talk about? Were you talking about the war on the Gaza Strip, or did you change subjects, or did we go? Did you stay with Niners as a main topic?
We stuck with Niners. We were actually people asked me if I saw the Netflix show Receiver. Have you seen Receiver yet?
No, but you know it's funny. My kid was saying it to me earlier, and I'm planning on doing a binge watch as soon as the stream's over.
Yeah, it's
little Giants Toronto right now, but the Giants are getting destroyed. And I was going to go inside and watch it. I loved the quarterback one. I thought it was really good. I heard the first one features Deebo and Kittle quite a bit.
Yeah. I saw the premiere the other day, and I watched that one. And it's 8 episodes, so they try to divvy it up between all the people that they have spotlighted. But it's pretty cool. Deebo Kittle get a pretty good amount of airplay so far from what I've seen. I'm on Raw. You learn about him, Devontae Adams, and then who's the other guy? Justin Jefferson. So it's good so far. I like it.
Some of the people saying it's still sounding choppy, but I don't hear it at all. So maybe
I don't either.
I don't know what to say.
We'll just roll with it.
We'll just try to get through it. A couple other things I want to get into. And there's some streams I just kind of freewheel it, right? And I don't try to, kind of get it going with any kind of game plan. Other times I put together some topics. Well, tonight I put together some topics. All right, topic number 2. And this was a Kyle Posey Niners Nation question, and there's no wrong answer. But he asked the question in an article that I thought was kind of fun. Where is your favorite place to watch a 49er game?
Oh.
And to me, I like watching the Niners on the road. I love going into an opposing team stadium as long as I'm, safe. I mean, I don't want to go to the, the LA Coliseum back in the day or something. sit in the end zone. But as long as it's relatively safe, there's nothing quite like going into an opposing team stadium, watching your team go in there and kind of silence that crowd and send everybody home. I mean, I'm not saying I want to fight everybody or argue the whole game or talk trash, but there's something that's enjoyable about going and supporting your team on the road. I think that's kind of cool. That to me is my favorite place to watch a 49er game. How about you?
Yeah, I love road games. I don't think I've been to enough, so I definitely want to experience them a lot more in the near future. Definitely got a few road games circled on my map this year: Green Bay, Miami. So that's a good one. I mean, I love Levi's. Going to home games. It's fun to be around the Niner fans, like the roar of the crowd. Like honestly, I love going to home games. It's fun. Being in Levi's is just a great atmosphere, and now it's becoming even bigger because they're winning. But honestly, you can't beat your house. You're home. You don't have anybody buggy. You know what to expect. It's nice. You're home, cozy. You don't got people bugging you. I like. It's the best seat in the house. It's the best seat in the stadium is your house. So,
Well, I mean
uh,
that that is, and is that a problem? Is it a problem that the couch experience is superior to the stadium experience, or is that not a problem because most people can't afford to go and aren't living nearby, and so it's better this way? I mean, what do you think? Is that a problem? I mean, Carmen Policy brought this up to me years ago in an interview. He's like the home couch experience is now surpassing the stadium experience in the minds of so many people.
I mean, no, because there's a lot of people that haven't been to a game. When they go, they're like, "Oh my god, it's such an experience." But it is expensive, and times have changed nowadays. But also too, I think with technology, it's everybody has a huge screen TV, and it's just comfort. But I don't think it beats the actual in-game experience because there's so much. But price is an issue for a lot of people. Honestly, for me, it's just because I'm watching the game. I'm posting content. For me, it's just easier and it's just nicer to be at home and doing stuff because when you're at the game, you want to try to enjoy it, but at the same time, for me, like I'm posting content, so for me, it's like stressful when I'm at a game. So sometimes it's like I don't enjoy being at the game as much as if I'm like just home locked in, watching it, getting to post content and stuff. So I don't know. It's a hard answer for me. It's a hard question for me to answer because I watch games a lot different than some people. As a content creator, you're looking for certain things. You want to post content. You want to, tweet. Most of my friends, they just watch the game and text me.
You're looking for like kind of subplots,
Yeah, exactly,
right?
exactly.
Isn't that pretty much what you're looking for?
Pretty much,
Um,
yeah.
we were talking about the receiver, the deal from Netflix, Receiver, the series which is out. Kyle Shanahan on Deebo Samuel on on the first edition or one of the early episodes, I think. Here's the quote. He says, "When he has the ball in his hands, he's pretty much different than everybody else. The speed he can hit like a receiver, the cuts he can make like a running back, but the kind of density in his body, that's a lot closer to a linebacker or a fullback. So anytime you can get the ball in Debo's hands, it's a problem for the defense." I think that's well said. I mean, that really does kind of paint the picture of the value of Deebo Samuel. He's a hard guy to sometimes explain the value of, but I think he kind of verbalized it right there. I mean, this is a unique player. And I saw that he's got some like certain numbers of yards after the catch that
Yeah,
where he's been like he's gotten to this level like 4 of the first 5 years in the NFL, and like nobody else has gotten there at all. So I
yeah.
mean, Debo's very unique. He's a one of one in a lot of ways.
He is. Yeah, we posted that today. It's a collab post with Football Forever. So basically, nobody in the NFL has ever done it, and more than twice in the last 30 seasons. He's led the NFL in yak per reception since his rookie season. 4 out of 5 times. It's crazy, dude. Like every year, you know what to expect from Debo. He takes the hits, he takes the beating, and he just keeps going. I think this year Debo is going for a big year. He's training really extensive like he usually does. But this year you could just see there's like some meaning behind his training. Last year he said, he felt bad about the year previous, how he trained and he came in out of shape and that really dogged him. And you could tell last year he took that captain role and he really tried to be the best he could. And there was many times he had big multiple touchdown games. I was watching receiver in that game against Philly. It's just like, man, you really saw him take over. And when they missed him last year when he was hurt, they lost games. That 3-game stretch where he wasn't there. So I don't know. I think Debo is just one of those guys that people undervalue and they don't realize how important he is to the 49ers. I think this is going to be a monster year for him. He's basically in another contract year. And, that was very well said about Debo and the way he plays the game and the way he built him. He builds himself. He's not just your prototype wide receiver. He's a do it all guy. So, yeah, I think Debo's going to go crazy this year.
Is it a foregone conclusion that this is going to be his final year, or do you think that it's a fluid situation that could change depending on who produces?
I think it can change, but I know a lot of people are going to sit here and say it's probably his last season, which I won't argue because it seems like the writing's on the wall. We've talked about, right? Ricky Persall, Cowing. They got these youngsters. They'll make a lot less money than Debo if he gets another big contract extension. But the one thing, the ace in the hole, is Kyle loves Deebo Samuel. Like, you remember when he was getting scouted out of South Carolina, he was at the Senior Bowl. Kyle coached the Senior Bowl. Like, Kyle's liked this guy since he saw him in college. Like, he saw this guy, said, this is the perfect receiver for my offense. Just kind of like how he saw CMC, it's the perfect running back for my offense. So, in a way, I won't say that it's his last season just because Kyle really, really, really values Debo Samuel. But they did get Persall, they did get Cowie. He could only keep so many receivers. So, in that sense, yeah, he might be replaced next year.
Um, gonna be very interesting. Gonna be very interesting to say the least. A couple other stories I want to hit here. You know, one was, we can't, seems like we can't do a stream these days without talking about Aiyuk a little bit. Ian Rappaport joined the NFL Network's The Insiders and highlighted the urgency of the Niners to get this deal done with Brandon. He said, what is facts, though, is that Brandon Aiyuk, who for sure deserves a huge contract extension, does not have one yet. And really, it makes you wonder as well if he's going to step on the field without a new deal. This market has defined itself very well. The fact that he does not have a deal done, the clock is ticking on him. A lot of speculation still on Aiyuk. What's the end game here? How's this? I think everybody wants to see this ship brought to shore, but is it going to be brought to shore? Is it we going to get resolution? It's Brandon Aiyuk. According to Schefter, he says the Niners and the Commanders did discuss a trade this offseason, and that Aiyuk, Aiyuk was well aware of the trade talks. Obviously we know the connection. Adam Peters is their GM, and the Commanders have the second most cap space in the NFL. They can pay or afford to overpay Brandon Aiyuk, and him and Jaden Daniels are close buds, and the Niners could easily take back a package of players or picks and probably be very well satisfied. One of the interesting trades also that I saw today or this week I thought was interesting, Raj, was Denver and Washington and the Niners in a three-way where Denver would get Jamison Crowder and a third rounder from Washington. Washington would get Aiyuk. Niners would get Cortland Sutton and the Commanders' second-round pick next year. Of all the deals out there, that one doesn't sound too bad. Cortland Sutton in a second. I mean, I'm just saying, obviously, people want to see Aiyuk come back, but if where there's smoke, there's fire, and all this talk, all this, speculation about him and the Commanders, there's something really there. They could do worse than Cortland Sutton in a second. What do you think?
Yeah, they could do worse than that. I mean, it's not a horrible. I mean, if that's the thing, if it comes down to it and they can't reach a deal and that's what they strike up, I mean, I wouldn't be too bummed out. Like, oh, we still got a decent guy in Sutton and a draft pick next year. But honestly, I'm last couple weeks. I've seen all the rumors, seen all the smoke, and I heard Ayuk talk, and now he's saying he's doing this for a video and he's trying to make a documentary. Honestly, I'm not really worried anymore. I feel like we got 2 more weeks till training camp. I think when the clock strikes midnight at the right time, I think they'll get the deal done. I think the Niners, they do this every week, sweat it out. I'm not worried until it's training camp and the vets report and he's not there. If that's the case, then I'll be a little worried because right now we still got 2 more weeks. Niners usually do this and it's posturing and here and there, and the agents is gonna play his poker face and the Niners are gonna play their hardball tactics, and I think both sides are just trying to levy for some leverage, and there's still another guy that has a bid signed, CD Lamb, and I think he can also dictate the market. Obviously the market's been changing month by month, and Ayuk mentioned it how the price kept changing. And he was like, look, you might have had me at one point, but then the market changed. And he's like, look, now my value went up because of the market. So I see both sides. I think ultimately they'll get it done. My only concern is I hope they just don't drag it out where he has to miss training camp, because we've seen it with these other players. When they miss training camp, they're just not the same to start the year. And that's a tough way to kind of, open the year, because you're behind the eight ball. You don't have that training camp. You don't have that crispiness when the season starts. So hopefully they can get this done, before training camp. But I will say this: I would not be surprised if they go into the season and they don't get a contract, because John
Wow.
Lynch has said it many times. They're okay with playing him on the fifth year option. And again, the fact that they got two young wide receivers in this draft tells me that, hey, they do feel like they could let it drag out. But I think they'll ultimately get it done. Like, the percentage of me that says they won't get it done before the season starts is like 10%. I just don't see it not happening.
Well, and it's like if you look at these players and separate the fact that they're people and pretend that they were, I don't know, something else, a car or something like that. If you were going to spend huge money on a vehicle, wouldn't you, and you own four vehicles, wouldn't you want to kind of know how your other three vehicles were running and this and that? I mean, it's like that's the one thing. It's like you just I don't know. It's just they're in a weird situation. Like if they wait, like yeah, I know Aiyuk wants to get paid, and I understand they'd love to get it done and move that off their things, the to do list, if you will. But if you said what's ideal for the Niners, wouldn't it be more ideal to find out what you have this year in Deebo Samuel, what you have in Ricky Pearsall, what you have in Jacob Cowing? Because what if those guys are spectacular? Or how about another one? What if one of these running backs, besides McCaffrey, Garendo, Schrader, Mason, is like a star, and now you want to run the ball a lot? Or what if you get to camp and suddenly Braden Willis really is a beastly receiving tight end, and now you want to use him more? I'm just saying, you know, if you pay Aiyuk, I mean, I don't mind paying Aiyuk, but it's if you pay him now, what if Cowing and Pearsall are awesome? Then you're going
Yeah.
to sit there and wish that you hadn't, paid Aiyuk all that money.
Well,
Or
not necessarily.
what if you pay or what if you pay Aiyuk and he's hurt this year and Deebo outplays him?
Well, that's the risky. And again, that's probably part of what the 49ers are looking into. They do have to consider all factors, because yeah, Debo could have a spectacular season, but then also that makes his trade value go up, and you can get Debo
Right.
Samuel at this point is at this weird position where he's had a contract extension, but now he's going for a second one. If the 49ers don't want him back, they could trade him. And the better he does, the better it is for him in any situation moving forward, whether it's with the Niners or not. He's going to get paid if he has a good season, or he'll get traded somewhere and get paid. Like, his value will only increase this year if he tears it up, and especially if Brandon Aiyuk has a down year or gets hurt. Debo is this wild card this year because we don't know what's going to happen. Like you say, it could be his last year, and he's playing for a contract. You could tell he's motivated. He's tasted that contract extension once before, and now he knows what it is, and he wants it again. He wants more money now, so he's in a big position. I think someone in the chat said that he's what was it? What did they say that he's let me go back. Someone they made a good point here, and I kind of feel like that as well. Let me take a look and find that comment.
In
He
the
said
chat,
that, yeah, they said that he's auditioning. That's the word. He's auditioning for his next contract or his next place to play, and that's exactly it. Debo is basically, if you really think about it, he's kind of a free agent right now, even though he's on the Niners. We don't know what's going to happen with him next year. He could either stay for the 49ers. They might love him again and say, "Oh my God, we can't get rid of this guy. We got to build him a statue." Or they could say he's expendable, or he could have a good season. The 49ers like, "Well, we got Pearsall and Cowing. We got to trade Debo because now he's so valuable. We can get a lot out of him." So Debo's in this weird position, and yeah, it's going to dictate a lot. But at the same time, if they really like Aiyuk, if you wait it out and you play him on his fifth year option and he has a hell of a season, you're not paying him next year, because this year's 30 million, right? What's the receiver market going to look like next year? So I feel like their window of getting Aiyuk paid is very small right now. They got to get it done.
Yeah, I mean, there's no question. It would be nice if they got it done now, but the flexibility, they may have better flexibility if they don't get it done. Um, okay, so one other one on the Niners. George Kittle said that he would accept the NFL expanding to 18 regular season games, but he'd like to see the NFL add a second bye week in return. He also kind of went through an outline on his idea for an adjusted off-season schedule. He went on the Rich Eisen show on Wednesday. Um, Kittle, interesting. I mean, I agree with him. If there's going to be an 18 game schedule, I think is inevitable. It's probably 20 eventually is going to be inevitable. But mix in an extra bye week, spread this thing out a little bit. I mean, you can either spread the hits out with the existing work supply, or you could add to the work supply, increase the roster size, and spread the physical toll of the game out over more bodies. But to me, it seems like okay. It seems like a kind of an arbitrary ending for football. Like if football went another 2 or 3 weeks, would anybody really go crazy? Would people go nuts if the Super Bowl was at the end of February instead of early February?
No,
I mean, it's like I kind of like the way it starts around after Labor Day, but to me, it's like if you add, if you're going to add some games, you either have to add to the roster or add an extra bye week. And his idea is an extra bye week. I would say definitely. I mean, I kind of wonder too as we learn more about concussions and what's good for people's bodies. I wonder if the future of the NFL is a longer season, but with maybe 3 bye weeks, maybe 4. What do you think? You might have fewer games every Sunday, but you would spread them out a little bit more. I know everybody wants their football every weekend. You'd still have football. You just wouldn't have your team every weekend. I mean, if they're going to 20 games with 4 byes,
that's a lot.
Probably makes the most sense. And since they probably don't want to increase the roster size.
Yeah, 20 games is crazy. And at that point, you should increase the roster size. That's just a lot. It's a wear and tear. These guys get hurt. They played through a lot of injuries. And I agree with Kittle. If you're going to have 18 game season, you need to add another bye week. I don't know if you saw with Joe Burrow this week. To me, Joe Burrow is so brilliant. Like his plan. Did you hear Joe Burrow's plan?
No. What's his plan?
Okay, I'm gonna read it to you. That's what I was looking up right now. So Joe Burrow, this is what people are saying. They said he might have come up with the greatest idea in NFL history, right? So he says, okay, if the NFL inevitably goes to an 18 game season, there should be 2 bye weeks, right? That's what Kittle said.
Mm-hmm.
He goes, one of those bye weeks should be around week 13 for the entire league, not just one team here, that not just random, the entire league. So it's like a bye week for the NFL. Pro Bowl festivities occurring on that week, similar to the NBA All-Star weekend, right? Not only would this boost ratings for the struggling Pro Bowl, but by adding a second bye week and an extra game, the Super Bowl would then fall on the day before President's Day, giving everyone the day off after the biggest game of the year. So then you get a day, it's like a holiday after the Super Bowl. Everybody's happy. You get a bye week. Everybody takes a nice rest. And then when football comes back after that bye week, everybody's hyped up to see their teams play all over again. So that was Joe Burrow's proposal. I think it's great. I think it's brilliant.
I like that idea too. One other thing I wanted to get into on the 49er front. I'm reading an article the other day, maybe 2 days ago on Bleacher Report. And it was an article. It was like, the 49ers have a great roster. They don't have a lot to tweak, but here are a few spots of concerns. And they go through 3 weak spots that the Niners should upgrade before camp starts. They say a few defensive reinforcements could be added just to solidify spots on the field. He said there'll also be an intense focus on right tackle to see if the 49ers have the right starter in place and Colt McKivitz. If not, a free agent move might have to be made. Anyway, the article says list defensive tackle, cornerback, and offensive tackle as the weak spots that need to be added to. And I don't know. I mean, to me, I'm looking at the roster going, I think it's defensive end, not defensive tackle. I think it's safety, not corner. And I think it's, that need on offense is either probably tight end or number 2 quarterback. more. I know they have a need at offensive tackle, but like there's nobody out there. There's nothing they can do to fill that need. And so it's like, why even bother talking about an offensive tackle because there's nobody out there to get. But then defensive tackle, cornerback, I think they're loaded at defensive tackle, and I think they're even more loaded with the depth at corner. To me, it's defensive end. Like, what's Beal? What's Drake Jackson? I don't know. And then safety. What's the health of Fonga? And then is Malik Mustafa ready to start in week 1 as a rookie? So to me, safety, defensive end, tight end, maybe backup quarterbacks. I'm not a huge fan of Dobbs and Allen. That's what I see as the primary concerns as we sit here on July the 10th, not D tackle, corner, and offensive tackle. Where do you see, what are you concerned about position wise going into this camp?
Yeah, I agree with you. This is the second article that we've talked about tonight that they say defensive tackles. Like, I really don't think they believe in Malik Collins and Jordan Elliott, and I really
No.
think that they thought Arik Armstead was playing the entire. People need to realize that are writing these articles. Arik Armstead wasn't playing much last 2 seasons. His plantar fasciitis, and you can't rush a pass. You can't really pass rush with the messed up foot, plantar fasciitis, and a messed up knee. So put some respect on Malik Collins, and Jordan Elliott. That's all I gotta say. I think the defensive tackle is fine. Defensive edge to me is a bigger concern. I love Leonard Floyd. I think he's gonna be good, and of course Nick Bosa is the guy. But who the hell do they have after that, Larry? I don't know. I don't know if I believe in Drake Jackson. I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't believe in Drake Jackson right now. Robert Beal, I hope he could be good, but we don't know. He's a project still. So defensive end, I'm a little worried there. Go get another defensive end. That's what I would do. Safety to me is a bigger concern than cornerback. This is the most loaded I've seen them at cornerback. I mean,
Yeah.
Ward,
Oh yeah, they got all
Lenore,
kinds of guys.
Bernardo Green, Yadam. There's so many guys they got this offseason. It's crazy. Safety, you're right. Hufunga coming off the ACL. Will he be ready? Mustafa, he's a rookie. How's he gonna we all expect Jair Brown. Like I said, I expect him to be good. But you have 3 safeties that are very similar. You don't have that coverage safety like we talked about. Gibson suspended for 6 games. They're not gonna bring him back. They don't really have a lot of depth at safety. And especially if Hufunga's not ready to go. And then offensive tackle. I know everybody wants to get him, a right tackle, but there's nobody out there. Colton McKivitz is the best option right now. Unfortunately, they should have addressed that. But hey, it's his second year as a starter. He should be better. Tight end.
Here's the thing on offensive tackle. There's really only 2 ways to get offensive tackles. You've got to invest a pick in the top 20 of the first round, or you got to do an incredible job at scouting the preseason. And when some team tries to slide their developmental tackle that you think's got real talent through waivers to get them to the practice squad because they're not really ready to play right away, there's an ability to pluck a guy at the end of training camp, right before the cut down, because there'll be an offensive lineman that's got a lot of talent, but you know what? He's not ready to play right now. And so some teams we got to slide him through waivers, and teams will try that. And that's the second place that you can find them. So maybe they can find somebody if they've got an opening this summer, though. I don't know if the Niners are going to have an opening because they've got so much depth now with, Pooney and Kingston and Drake Nugent, who I really, really like. They've got a lot of depth now. I don't know if they're going to have that extra spot to pluck somebody off another roster, but we'll see if you can find some. John Lynch. It's like we all want them to get a tackle. They like McKivitz and Jalen Moore and obviously Trent Williams. So I don't know what to say about it other than we just, the fans and the organization don't see it the same way. One last one. And we appreciate you hanging tonight, Raj. Warm night. We're only about 40 minutes into our stream. Thanks to everybody. By the way, if you could hit like and subscribe. If you hit like, everybody can find the shows better in the algorithm of YouTube. And then if you hit subscribe and hit that notification bell, you'll get notified every time we go live. I'm starting to get this question, and this is why I'm throwing it to you. And you'll probably, since people know that you're in the industry and talk a lot of football, you're probably on the verge of getting this question as well, because this has become an absolute international or at least national phenomena, and that's fantasy football. And I've had more than a couple buddies ask me, Krug, come on, man, you're all over the NFL. Give me some names. Give me some sleepers. I need some sleepers for my fantasy draft. And it makes me laugh every time. So I did dig up a couple, but I'll throw it to you, Raj. I'll let you have first crack at this if you want, or I can go first, either one, if you want time to think about it or
Yeah, give me a minute. Go ahead and address the question.
Okay, so I'll give you a couple guys that I really like.
Okay.
I think Anthony Richardson in Indianapolis is a tremendous athlete, and I think the injury that he suffered last year was a absolute gift because it allowed him to rest and learn and watch without getting totally hurt. There's a race in the NFL for every rookie quarterback, and you learn what to do and figure it out before you get hit so hard and so hurt so bad that you're somehow physically diminished or you lose your confidence. It happened to a lot of guys, Rick Meyer and others. Everett, who played for the Rams, lost his confidence, clearly being sacked so much. Rick Meyer came into the league and was the rookie of the year. I think AFC Offensive Player of the Year, something like AFC Rookie of the Year, something like that. Yeah. Then he was sacked 3 years in a row, like more than any other quarterback. He lost his confidence. So I like Anthony Richardson, and I think he's going to be, maybe 4,000 yards. I think he's going to have 600 plus yards rushing. I think he's going to score 30 touchdowns. I mean, to me, he's really, really exciting. So, I mean, I think it's possible that he could pass for 4,000 and run for 1,000.
Oh man.
Yeah. I mean, he's really, really good. I mean, to me, he's going to have about 10 rushing touchdowns. He's probably going to throw for 20, 25 touchdowns. If you're a fantasy player, you're going to want Anthony Richardson. He's learned how to play. He's had a year to figure it out. They got some good weapons. I think Anthony Richardson is going to have a big year. So that's one. Another one I'll give you. Garrett Wilson, wide receiver for the Jets.
I don't think that's a sleeper, but
I mean, now you got Rodgers back, and they've got some other receivers there now. And this is a second-year receiver. This kid is absolutely awesome. I think he could have 100 catches. I think he's going to have over 1,000 yards. I think he's going to be big time. Get Garrett Wilson in your fantasy drafts. I think, Aaron Rodgers to Garrett Wilson is going to be prolific. And then the last one I'll give you, and this guy already started to come on, so it's not. I'm hardly like the first on this guy. I'm kind of late on this guy, but I loved him in college. Trey McBride, the Arizona Cardinals tight end. He's going to catch 100 balls. I think. I mean, he's going to have 1,000 yards. He's going to catch 100 balls. I mean, he's Kyler Murray's going to be healthy, and in the final 10 games last year, McBride was on pace for 112 catches and 1,114 receiving yards. So he had a big second half, and I expect that to continue. And I also kind of like the Green Bay tight ends, Musgrave and Tucker Kraft. I just don't. The downside is there's two of them, right? So then they're going to share some time. They're going to compete a lither bit. Neither's going to be as good a fantasy player as they could have been without the other. But those are my fantasy guys to watch: Trey McBride. Definitely Garrett Wilson and Anthony Richardson.
Wow. I don't know about Anthony Richardson. Wow. If he hits, Larry, all credit to you. I'm not sold on him. I watched him play in college. I don't know. I wasn't a big fan of him. I think he was like up and down, a little inconsistent, and he gets hurt a lot. I hope he stays healthy. I don't want to wish any injuries. I don't know. I'm not too big on Anthony Richardson, but I love the hype. I love the pick. That's bold prediction. Honestly, so today Will Levis, whatever you want to name.
Yeah, Will Levis.
Titans. I kind of feel like he's going to go under the radar. I have a feeling he's going to be decent. That division's not the greatest in football. I don't know why. I think he'll do better than Richardson. Call me crazy. That's a sleeper right there. I don't think he's going to have like this tremendous season. I think it's going to be a low-key, like mid-tier type quarterback.
He's got a big arm.
He's got a big arm. I think he's going to have some decent numbers. I mean, Tennessee, they're really trying to re-put together this team. That's a crazy division. You never know what's going to happen in the AFC South. So give me Will Levis. The running back for the Bengals, I think it's Zach Moss. He's taken over
Yes.
Mixon. He's taken over Mixon.
Yeah.
They're gonna need to feed somebody, and Mixon used to get a lot of carries and stuff. So I like that kid. I think he's gonna have a heck of a season. And then the guy that took over Jacobs out in the Raiders, I can't remember his name. What's the running back over there?
Josh
Um,
J. Zamir White.
yeah, I think this guy's gonna be a absolute dog with the Raiders. I think they're gonna give him. I mean, Jacobs was leading the league on the Raiders, and now he's gonna get all the carries that Jacobs was getting, and that's who I think is gonna be an absolute dog. Go grab him on your fantasy team. So,
Zamir White. They also have Alexander Madison too on that
mhm.
in that backfield. But yeah, no, I agree. Zamir White, and if you saw him, man, this guy's yoked up this offseason. My goodness, the guy's put on some serious upper body lifting for that guy. And Raj, you got a thought at all on the Warriors and their pursuit of Lauri Markkanen before we jet?
Shit,
They want
man.
him bad. They're after him. Do you do any Warrior content? I know there's a
I need to. I
big
think I
bleed
might need
over
to make.
between Warriors and Niners.
Larry. I think I might need to make our Golden State Warriors, like RS of 49ers, because I love the Warriors, but they want a lot. Larry Markkinen, the thing, if they get him, the Warriors don't want to give up the players that they want to keep, right? They want to keep
Kaminga.
Kaminga and Moody Moses. You might need to give them up for Laurie. So it's like it's hard for them to get Laurie if they're not going to give up their young prospect. They don't have a lot to offer. They got some draft picks. They got Wiggins. Nobody wants Wiggins. But man, I think if they had Steph and Laurie, it'd be great spacing. They could get them. I would love to see it. I like the Buddy Hile pick. You got the Splash Buddies, but it's definitely gonna be hard to replace Clay when he was prime Clay. I mean, you got a great shooter in Buddy. Everybody else, Anderson, he's a slow shooter, but they needed some depth out there. If they can get Laurie Markkinen, this team would probably be one of the top 5 teams in the West. That West is tough, so they
Oh,
need
I
to get
know.
them. But I
They,
think they're really putting their trust in their younger players, and that's it. 21 years old, 22 years old. These guys, if they can hit that peak that Kerr believes in them, then there's not gonna be a problem. And we're gonna be sitting here going, "Oh my God, Kuminga! Oh my God, Pods!" So I feel like they're putting this trust in these younger players, and they're gonna save money. We'll see how it goes. But I would love to get Laura Markkinen.
check me out tomorrow. I'll be on 95.7 The Game in afternoon drive with Mark Willard. So I'm sitting in for Dibs tomorrow. So catch me from 2 to 6 tomorrow with Mark Willard. And then on Friday morning, I will not have my normal Damon Bruce stream or my stream with Chase Sr. because I'm sitting in for Steiny on 95.7 The Game with Guru. So catch me Friday at 10 a.m., 10 to 2 with Goo. And tomorrow with Mark Willard from 2 to 6 p.m. Raj, I'm gonna run in the house because in the house, that's where the dog is, the food is, cold drinks are, AC. I'm out here in the garage, which is kind of similar to like being in the Middle East. I think it's warm, it's sweaty, it's very hot. I mean, I'm not saying my garage is Dubai, but it's warmer than it's warmer than the house. The house stays around 70. The garage gets to more like 90, 95. It's kind of a reminder. Like if I lived in Scottsdale, this is what it would be like.
Oh man, yeah, it's hot. It's hot. But you just said it's like Dubai in your garage. My
Yeah,
daughter
it's like,
came
well,
around
it's like
to-
Qatar. It's like more like Qatar.
She came to grab some water and she started cracking up. She's like, "It can't be that fucking hot." It's hot.
It's freaking hot. It is freaking hot. All right, Raj, have a good week, man. Go Niners. Won't be long before we're talking camp. Thanks to everybody. Thanks to our sponsors. Peace.
Yeah, never met a man I've been scared of. Careful, you gon' get exactly what you asked for.